a joy to be together. My name is Antoinette, and I'm the host of our Eileen Fisher Women Together Connect. And I am thrilled for today's session as we have one of our special guests and friends, Kristi Nelson, here with us, and I'll bring her in just a few minutes. But it's wonderful to just be all together. So I'd love to hear, I think we already have it in the chat, people sharing where they are coming from or where they're sitting today. I have been on the West Coast, so Lisa, you are correct. Not necessarily on vacation, but yes, I've been on the West Coast where there's sunshine, which you all know I love so much. And if you are new to our Eileen Fisher Women Together space, a warm welcome to you all. It's we've been gathering week after week to just connect with each other and share practices for resilience and possibility. And just in this time particularly, it's felt like I was talking with a friend last night who, we were saying that it's felt like anything that happens, there's this kind of like just a little, like we're not it's resilient is a word that I keep coming back to, but it's like, how do we actually hold ourselves and each other, even when it seems like, okay, we're back to normal, whatever that may mean, during this COVID time, but that we still need space to be held and to hold each other. So that's really what we're doing here in this Women Together space, creating a circle and a community where we can listen to each other, where we can hear one another, be witnessed with, all that we are and all that we hold. So a warm welcome and landing here together. Some of us have already started to type into the chat where we're coming from. We've got New York, Ossining, Hudson Valley, suburban Philadelphia. The East Coast is representing New York City, Ossining, Ellicott City, Maryland, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Arlington, Mass, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, Sunny Falls Church, and North Dakota. Yes, West Coast. I'm your fan today. Walnut Creek, Bay Area, New Jersey, and Ohio. Weaverville, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, West Palm Beach, Florida. I love it. And that's just in our Zoom room. We also have our YouTube friends. So welcome to you all as well. It's wonderful to be together. I see Tucson, Arizona, Seattle. Great. So there are many of us really just coming in from all across the country. And I know we're all just kind of landing here today. So I invite you to just land and get present. And what we'll do is we did, over the last 6 weeks, we did something we called Women Together Circles, where a number of us met in smaller circles. And I see many of us who joined the Circles program. And what we did was just stay in that circle each week and explore particular topics and our own journeys and just getting to know each other more deeply. Because in the Connect space, what we find is that we want to have what we call maximum mix of connection with each other and really getting to know the whole group by connecting in small groups. So if you're joining on Zoom, we have a chance to do that every week. And today, to do that, we have Kristi Nelson, who is going to be sharing about treasuring connections. So before I turn it over to her for that piece, I'd like to just invite us into 3 breaths, which is the practice that we did in this Women Together Circle space. And normally we do a little singing bowl meditation, but today I thought we'd try that 3 breath and just see what happens when we take 3 deep breaths, 3 kind of just attention is on the breaths. So what we can do is, if you can, get your feet on the ground and just feel your feet on the floor. You can feel perhaps your body on the seat. And then you can lower your gaze or close your eyes. And just notice the quality of the breath at first. Perhaps it's going in and out of the nose. Perhaps noticing the temperature of the breath. And as you settle and tune the attention to the breath, you'll exhale everything out. And then inhale, fill the belly. Fill the chest and the collarbones. And then exhale, release completely. And again, fill the belly. Fill the chest and the collarbones. Release completely. And one more on your own. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes or turn your attention to the screen. Just notice the difference coming into this space. And just notice what comes up for you in that moment of tuning the attention to the breath and just getting really present to being here now. And then bringing that presence to the screen. If you're on Zoom, you can move into gallery view. So you can click into view on the gallery and just make sure that you can take in a few of the boxes of those wonderful women on the screen. And just maybe pick 2 or 4 boxes and just bring that presence and attention and awareness to these wonderful women on the screen. Perhaps send them a breath, send them a welcome. I love this. I just see the smiles just getting bigger and bigger. The waves. Yeah, beautiful. It's wonderful to just take each other in and be witnessed for a moment as well. So yeah, warm welcome to all. So with that, maybe just typing into the chat so that we can see some of our intentions for being here together today. What do you hope to have happen in this session? What brought you to Women Together Connect today around treasuring connections? And you can type directly in the chat. I'll read a couple out and then turn it over to Kristi. And if you're in YouTube, you can type it directly in the comments as well. Slowing down, being present with these great women, personal time, and forgetting everything else. I love it. Yes, just letting go for this hour. Be together. This is my treasured connection each week. Wonderful. Some time to just be with others. This is my Tuesday's breath. Joan, welcome back. Always enjoy this group. Missed being on recently. Oh, warm heart. I love that. Need to work on new connections. Yeah, don't we all? I feel like, especially in this coming out of, isolation or social distancing, this is a moment to really relearn how to connect and how we want to connect with each other. So working on new connections, and also how do we treasure the ones that we have? So I think these are all questions that many of us do sit with. So what I'll do is turn it over to Kristi, and as I do, just say, I feel like Kristi is a kindred spirit that, I just feel so grateful to be in your orbit and being, just connected to each other. As you know, I have your book on my nightstand of Wake Up Grateful, and it's really just I kind of flip through sometimes and say, oh, this is what I need today, the reminder. And just really appreciated your presence with us a few weeks ago to just look at what is gratitude, what is gratefulness, and kind of how you deconstructed that and gave us real practices around that. So I just love the both practical and spiritual, and the way that you've blended these things to just allow us to connect more deeply with ourselves and embrace the flow of life. It's something that I really took out of our sessions together. And just as a reminder for many of us, that Kristi is the author of Wake Up Grateful, the transformative practice of taking nothing for granted. She's the executive director of a network for grateful living, and has spent her adult life immersed in nonprofit leadership, fundraising, organizational development. She's helped to lead and strengthen organizations committed to progressive social and spiritual change. Kristi, you are my inspiration in many ways, and I'm so grateful to have you here, and turn it over to you now.
Well, I'm the lucky one. I feel so happy, and just, it's a beautiful thing to be here. And I feel like I'm looking out and I see familiar faces, which is really sweet from the last time I was here with you guys. And thanks for showing up. And what I realize is, this is in some ways what we would call kind of preaching to the converted, because the idea of treasuring connection is so alive already in you, in all of you. It's why you're here. And so those intentions you just put into chat are so clear. What does it mean to really show up, to be in relationship with each other, to take this moment and be intentional? So part of what I want to talk about is kind of going bigger. And one of the things, this book, right? So Wake Up Grateful is based on my cancer journey and all of what it was that I learned as a result of having faced a stage 4 cancer at 32 and having it almost take my life. And what did I learn from that? And one of the things that I learned was really profoundly about not taking the relationships in my life for granted. And this is such a hugely key part of being intentional, because treasuring is the opposite, right? Treasuring is the active way of being in relationship. To treasure, it's an active verb. A lot of people think, oh, I appreciate something, I treasure something, I savor something, I cherish something. But you need to be able to see that. If you treasure something, if you treasure food and I'm eating with you, I want to hear it. Like I want to hear you humming and moaning and getting excited about what you're eating. If you treasure something in your life, I want to see and feel how precious that is to you, that it's a lived, active state of being. It's not passive. Even if you're an introvert, even if you are by yourself, that what we treasure is obvious to the things that we treasure, the people we treasure, and to ourselves. So that how do we get this self-fulfilling, beautiful, rich universe activated? It starts with us. So I think there's so much to receive. And one of the things that I wanted to say is, I think also one of the most painful things I've ever felt in relationship, and I don't know about you guys, you can chat me if you can agree with this. One of the hardest things I've ever felt in my relationships, especially with the people I'm really close to, is being taken for granted. Being taken for granted is so painful. It's like an existential, essential pain. It basically is not showing up. It's like as if I don't show up, as if I don't exist, as if it's kind of like being in the most sad way, but being made dead, like as if I'm not really there. And the thing about not taking for granted is it honors that we are never the same person going to bed at night as we were when we woke up in the morning. We are never the same person. Everything in life is changing us. And so to treasure is the opposite of being taken for granted. To listen into somebody, to let them know that their existence, that their appearance, their presence actually matters. So what you guys do here, taking each other's faces in on Zoom, listening to each other, being on chat, every single way in which you honor someone is a profound act of treasuring, to show up and to let them know that they matter. Otherwise, it's as if we aren't truly alive. And our contributions, our being doesn't really matter. So one of the things, I have a couple of quick stories to tell from a personal space. The first one is when I was in the hospital at New York Cornell Medical Center. And I don't think I told this story last time. If I did, you can raise your hand and go, I know this one by heart. But what it was that I had to be in isolation a lot because I was super sick with fevers of unknown origin. And I was in the hospital for 10 weeks over the course of my 32nd summer. And that was hard enough, but I had to be in isolation a lot of the time because with fevers and being undiagnosed, I wasn't allowed to be around a lot of the people who I loved. And my immune system was hugely compromised. So I had very little windows of opportunity to be around anybody I knew. And so what I realized was I got to treasure connections when I realized that instead of feeling at the effect of my circumstances, instead of feeling like, oh, I don't get to be with the people I love, I decided to love the people I was with. There's a song about that. Did I tell you this story already? I hope not. But the people I was with was, guess who I was with? I was with the people who came in masks to take my garbage out every day. The people who came to bring me little trays of food. Yeah, good. You know the song. Thank you. So the people who would come and draw my blood, like way too many times every day. The doctors who would come and do rounds way too early in the morning. And so I thought to myself, oh my gosh, my terrain for love has shrunk so small. Now all of a sudden I can't be around all these people who I'm familiar with, but I got to actively love and treasure and appreciate the people who were immediately in my environment. I couldn't be with my family and my friends most of the time. And I realized, oh, I never have to be cut off from love. If I decide to love where I am, love what's available, get to know and appreciate the people. And so it started to be, yeah, love the one you're with. It started to be a room where a lot of people like to come and hang out, which was a lot of the employees, and people would come in and linger. And you realize that when we actively appreciate the people in our midst, it becomes this really contagious, reciprocal, scrumptious give and take, this beautiful flow. Then when I got out of the hospital and I had this very poor prognosis, and I thought, well, what? I don't know how long I'm going to be here. One of the things that I realized was it was so hard for me to say goodbye to anybody I was with because I never knew if it was the last time I was going to see them or not. So living with this cancer diagnosis, living with this awareness, I got in touch with the truth about life. The truth about life is that no future moment is promised to any of us. And what I became aware of is I had been taking for granted all along that I would see again all these people I loved, that they were here ad infinitum. They were here and they were going to be around forever. So it's like I could put off telling people what I cared about them. I could say, oh, I'll get to that another day. And then I realized, what if I don't count on that other day? What would life look like if I lived my heart out loud right now, all the time? That there was no future moment to be able to put all these things off. What would life look like? And I will tell you right now that I became very intense. That when I hugged people, like it was like a hug, like as if you never, it's like, wow, you know, this is you. There was no question you were getting a hug from me. When I would say goodbye, there was no absence of eye contact. It's like the intensity with which I felt the hellos and the goodbyes was more intense than ever in my life before. And it was worth everything. It was worth it so much because everything transformed in that space of not taking for granted that there was more time to show the people I loved that I loved them. So I want to invite you into that space. This is what I would call the blessing of our inherent belonging. And we're going to do just a really short meditation. And I want to just say, if you don't mind just giving me just a few minutes, we're going to close our eyes. And we're going to just allow ourselves maybe 3 or 4 minutes. You can do a soft gaze if you want, as Antoinette says. And let's just have this little practice of reconnecting with our inherent belonging, which is actually available to us in every single moment of every single day. That we remind ourselves who we are, where we are in this web of interconnection, our vital place, and the vital place that every single other person holds in this web of interdependence. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to just bring up in your awareness is just take this deep breath and notice how alive you are. Notice in your breath the unapologetic, unequivocal aliveness that belongs to you right now. You are no more or no less alive than anyone else alive. No matter what's wrong with you, no matter what hurts, there's way more right with you than wrong with you in any moment. Just let yourself feel that in your body. And you are part of this web that goes way back in time. Allow yourself to picture your ancestors. It can be 1 generation back, 2 generations back, 3 generations back. Picture the heritage of which you are the current manifestation. The longing that brought you here. The love that made you. The relationships and connections that were chosen, that were given, that brought you into life as this perfect manifestation of this moment, the expression of generations of care, of wanting, for this moment to be yours. So feel the beauty of that history and the arrival in this moment of you, the centerpiece of you right now. And now I want you to picture the web of connection that is in your current life. It can be some of the women in this space, the relationships which nourish you and which you nourish, friendships, family, colleagues, neighbors, community, the relationships you have in your life, which are a lifeline to your heart. And feel yourself held in that vast web of belonging. And now I want you to picture the people whose labor, whose service, whose time keep you alive, comfortable, fed, well. Allow yourself to picture all the people who allow you to have food in your home, the farmers, the people who move food through the world, the people who make sure you have electricity, the people who help you do all of the things that you do, who take care of you, whether through being a dental hygienist and taking care of your teeth, being a doctor, being a chiropractor, any of the ways in which your body is taking care of, the nurses, all those essential workers, the essential workers who are this beautiful web all underneath you, holding you up, providing for you. And now picture the time going out ahead of you. Picture the future, even if it's just tomorrow, next month, next year. Nothing promised, but the legacy of our love, the legacy of our presence, the degree to which we show up carries us into the future. Most assuredly, we belong to the future through the hearts of others, unconditionally, where we have touched, where we've been touched. So just experience this web ahead of you, around you, underneath you, behind you, and you are the center right now of all of this possibility and all of this care. Take a breath or two and just hold that in your awareness. And slowly open your eyes. And look around, if you can, at the faces of the people here. And allow yourself to notice your inherent belonging to all of these connections, to feel the beauty and the weight of that, the promise of that. If you feel alone, this is something you can tap into at any time. So I was going to do a short reading, but I don't necessarily have the time right now that I want to devote to that.
It.
But okay. You sure? Oh gosh, Antoinette. Yes. I see the multiple generations of trauma, and there is in so much of the trauma, we are, and still the manifestation of the moment of so much of what has happened before us that also includes choice and love and longing. And it includes many things. And to remember that in that mix is also hardship, is also difficulty and pain. All right, so this is the book that Antoinette referenced, and please, thank you for indulging me. I'll read. We all exist in concentric circles of relationship, some distant and others close, some with people different from us and others with people similar. Some of our circles are given to us, some we create. Living within this intricate web brings us the most extravagant joys and our most difficult sorrows. The domain of relationships always offers us fertile ground for learning. When any two individual forces meet, new energies are created and possibilities forged. New life is born, losses are suffered, love is made holy. We are over and over again made both humble and proud, secure and insecure, flattered and flattened, hurt and healed. Relationships deliver our most unbridled magnificence and messiness, and they support our capacity to grow, whether we welcome it in the moment or not. Strengthening presence, perspective, and possibility in our relationships transforms our experience of interconnectedness, and therefore life itself. The future of our species and planet depends on our ability to extend kindness and compassion to others and to incorporate it for the vitality of the common good. Recognizing that we are in relationship with our larger human family and our earth in every moment, we must consider relationships in their most inclusive arc. Grateful living helps us unleash our most generous selves as we practice taking nothing and no one for granted. We open our hearts to others in ways that open doors and break down barriers. We do not hold back on our desire to show and share affection. We respond rather than react, inquire rather than judge. In this awakened field of compassion and generosity, our relationships become the terrain for the practice of living gratefully, nourishing and transforming us and others. So we'll go back to this whole idea of treasuring connection. It's an active, visible, felt sense. When someone treasures you, may you know it. May it never be a question. May you not feel taken for granted. And one of the things that I think gets confusing is when I talk about this sometimes with people, they'll say, but I count on you. I count on people. Don't I get to take you for granted? And I think this is an important distinction. We can count on people, and that counting on them is the most beautiful and alive energy that's constantly in flow and dynamic. It's generous. To be able to count on people is worthy of our acknowledgement at all times. So I'm going to have you do a very quick journal prompt. And maybe Karen, you could put this up. So this is just for you to consider writing right now. And this is something to think about. And so one of the things that I think is really important is that we say out loud and write also to people. Writing to people is so beautiful. So this would be somebody else's name. I appreciate that I can count on your, and then think of those qualities. Or I can count on you to be, think of those qualities that somebody in your life that you want to actively let know that you're treasuring them, that they exhibit in life. And it's not just that you make me, it's like, I appreciate that I can count on you to always give me exactly what I want. No, it's I appreciate your generosity. I see you as a distinct human being. And so one of the things I'm going to have us do as a really quick little surprise activity here is that I'm going to have each of you, this is a take-home activity and also something you can talk about in your diet, in your groups when you go into your breakouts. I'm going to have each of you do this right now for Antoinette. She has no idea I'm doing this. So here's what I want you to do in chat. I want you to let Antoinette know what you appreciate you can count on from her. Okay, so what I would love is for you to just right now in chat, what are 1, 2, 3 positive qualities and ways of being that you have come to learn from this one time of being with her or many months of being with her, you can count on that is a gift to you, that awakens something in you? What is it that you count on from Antoinette? And let it fly into chat. Let yourself spill your heart out. This is the opportunity to be an example to yourself. Beautiful. And the extra credit is, it helps me feel blank. It's so beautiful when we can mirror back to somebody what we receive from them, what we receive as a result of. Beautiful. Thank you, Christine. So what is extraordinary is that when we pour our hearts out, what happens to our hearts? They get bigger. They feel yummy and raw and tender, and we get vulnerable. And we feel seen when we express love and appreciation. We feel seen, we get bigger, we feel less taken for granted because we've just shown up, loving Antoinette, these qualities about her that she brings to this group over and over. So Antoinette, you're going to have a nice little chat feed that you get to draw on, and you had no idea I was doing that. But this is a little exercise that you can take home. And I really want to tell you, I did this with E.T. yesterday. I said, E.T., I appreciate so much that I can count on you for being blank, 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 and it makes me feel blank. And E.T. has been beautiful and warm and generous with me and so supportive and helpful. And it really has been a gift to me. So, and what happens is when we share that, something washes over us and washes over the other person. That's the beginning of a transformation. Let your heart be generous. And we're going to go into breakouts, but I'm first going to read you a little poem. And I hope you get to enjoy your breakout sessions. So this is a poem by a woman named Danusha Lamoris, who is a beautiful poet. I suggest you look her up, and there's a link that's going to be put on here for you guys to be able to share this. And I'm going to just read you this, and then I hope you go off and enjoy your time together. Small Kindnesses by Danusha Lamoris. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers still say, bless you, when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you for the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire, only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat, go ahead, you first, or I like your hat. So I hope this has awakened something in you that you are eager to share in your breakout room. And maybe Antoinette, you guys can come out and give people the amount of time they're going to be together. I don't know what happens next, but I think you're going to go off and share a little time together.
Thank you, Kristi. And thank you, everyone. I am totally overwhelmed. And just really, this field of love that you opened for us, Kristi, and just a reminder of what happens when we activate that within ourselves and hold that for others. That it's opening up this space in our own hearts. So I feel treasured, and I treasure all of you and our connections with each other. So we're going to go off and do more of that together now, and move into breakouts and just share what's coming up for you, what maybe came up for you with the prompt. And we'll be in there for just under 20 minutes so that we can give you time to the top of the hour. So let's say 18 minutes so that we have a couple minutes to close together before the top of the hour. So enjoy your time together. We'll see you back here very soon.